If I were to say the words absurdist comedy, you might think about comedy that's over the top, comedy that's, well, absurd. Comedy like The Eric Andre Show. To cite a couple local examples here on YouTube, maybe you'd think of Astrozyst or Anthony Fantano's alter ego on That Is the Plan. Or maybe you'd think about a show called Rick and Morty, created by Justin Roiland and Dan Harmon. While Rick and Morty is absolutely a show that can be over the top on occasion, the word absurd takes on a whole new meaning in the context of it. When I think about absurd comedy in the context of Rick and Morty, I think about the question that's been on everyone's mind since probably the beginning of time. What is the meaning of life? And Rick and Morty is a show that keeps this in the back of its mind constantly, and it's absolutely something that the characters are aware of.
What is my purpose?
This is Rick Sanchez.
You passed butter.
Smartest man in the entire universe.
Oh my god.
Yeah, welcome to the club, pal.
And as a character, he might be the most aware of it. Rick Sanchez has seen a lot. He's jaded. He's seen countless alternate dimensions where life is one way or another. Some where he's dead, and some where he's an even worse person than he is now. He's seen too much to care about really anything, with a few exceptions, that being his family. And partly because of everything he's seen, Rick embraces the idea that life is ultimately cruel, and nothing of what happens matters in the bigger picture. It's meaningless. He acknowledges that if something happens to him, the universe will just keep moving forward and wouldn't even do a double take. And I don't think it's a coincidence that the character that annoys Rick the most is Jerry, who symbolizes the idea of trying to find meaning in a meaningless life.
Why, Jerry? Why expend the effort?
Life is effort and I'll stop when I die!
Almost everything Jerry does revolves around trying to find some kind of purpose, like making it big as a marketer for an Apple company or some other ridiculous thing. And every time he fails, and every time he just tries again, doomed to repeat himself, I think Jerry is supposed to represent us, people just fumbling around trying to find some purpose to it all. But Rick is hyper aware of how futile this is, and he doesn't like that this is a fact of life. Because deep down inside, Rick is a deeply emotional person who maybe cares too much.
Feel what he's feeling.
No! God! Oh God, what is life? How can someone so talented die so young? What is being young? I'm not young, I'm old. I'm gonna die. My body isn't real. Oh God, what kind of world is this? I didn't ask to be born.
Rick isn't too much unlike the Me-Seeks, some of the most depressive beings in the multiverse.
Me-Seeks are not born into this world fumbling for meaning, Jerry. We are created to serve a singular purpose for which we will go to any lengths to fulfill. Existence is pain to a Me-Seeks, Jerry.
But at least the Me-Seeks have the luxury of having a clear purpose in life. A man by the name of Albert Camus, a big proponent of the movement called absurdism, tried to answer the big question of life once, and he concluded, essentially, that life has no meaning except for the meaning we give to it. I think even though this is something Rick accepts, he doesn't understand why life has to be this way, and why the world is so uncaring and meaningless. So he does what any smart person would do. He just numbs himself and tries not to think about it. That's why he doesn't bat an eyelash when, after having to escape to another dimension, having completely destroyed the previous one he was in, to fit in he has to bury his own body. Whereas Morty, who doesn't have this kind of experience in life, is absolutely traumatized. The only words of comfort he can give to Morty are,
The answer is don't think about it.
and this is something he's familiar with saying.
Think about it.
In a way, as aggressive as he says this to protect Morty, because he knows thinking about it is one of the worst things you can do. It takes burying his own body for Morty to come to the conclusion that
nobody exists on purpose, nobody belongs anywhere, everybody's gonna die.
Personally, I don't think Rick is happy with living this kind of existence, where he's unsatisfied with trying to find purpose for himself. He's an alcoholic, he's suicidal. He lives an existence where he tries to do anything to distract himself from the sad reality of it all. To him, life might as well have as much meaning as stopping at nothing to find some discontinued McDonald's chicken nugget Szechuan sauce, which is absurd, and he knows this. He takes his grandson on adventures any chance he can to just not think about it. Because thinking about all the terrible things that happen to people and how uncaring the universe really is just a recipe to end up like he already has. So what do I think will happen to Rick? What's his series arc, as he put it? I don't know, and I don't pretend to know. I can only guess he'll either find some kind of satisfaction with living with what he knows about life, or he won't. And if he doesn't, he'll either drink himself to death, or he'll just die alone. But I have hope for Rick. I think behind the front he puts up, he's actually a deeply caring character who really loves the people around him. He's just so numb to life that he doesn't know how to express it. One of the best things about Rick and Morty, in my opinion, is that it taps into what everyone is thinking and feeling on some level, at least. It's capable of making you laugh hysterically in one moment and feel genuine emotional weight the next, sometimes at the same time. Rick and Morty does a beautiful job of bringing out the absurd in life. I think the real absurdity of life is that we don't know what the answer is. We try so hard to just find something for us to do and see what sticks, and we try not to think about it, because if you do think about it, there's the chance you'll just end up like Rick. And that's really sad. That's absurd.